Greetings nerdy list aficionados and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. Pregnant. Can't stop, won't stop, don't wanna stop. Did you think I'd reach the bottom of the barrel? You thought wrong. Get ready for more heroes who got pregnant. This time heroes you didn't know got pregnant. Although I'm sure some of you well knew because you're level 10 nerds, you're paladins. So let's get started and see the top 10 superheroes you never knew got pregnant. I'm Sasha and let's get started. Number 10, Gal Gadot filming Wonder Woman. So this is low for obvious reasons because she's the actress who plays Wonder Woman, not actually Wonder Woman. But they did have her and Linda Carter come to the UN when they were gonna make Wonder Woman an ambassador to it, and then people got mad, like they didn't stand for the ceremony, they turned around saying it was taking away from real women who contributed, so they undid it. It was a thing, there was drama. Anyway, while she was filming Wonder Woman, she was 5 months pregnant, and they just masked it, and without having her hold large boxes or sit down a lot. That's the classic way. Just fun fact, being pregnant doesn't mean you can't do stuff. You can't do as much, like at the end, but if it's good during it, you can still do a lot. Like whatever you could do before, you can still do it. So like if you were active, you can still be active. I'm really passionate about this topic. Also, not all people get huge. Some you can barely tell. Anyway, just sharing. The more you know. Moving on. Number 9, She-Hulk. This is an off-panel pregnancy, but we know that it happened and more than once. In Old Man Logan, we have a future where villains have won after successfully banding together and taking out most of the heroes. Mysterio tricked Wolverine into murdering all the X-Men, which he was able to do, just go with it. So Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, would seemingly go mad as the exposure to radiation began to work on his mind. And he too would end up as one of the villains who divide up America into territories. And Wolverine lives in his territory, under the control of and patrolled by the Hulk gang, descendants of the She-Hulk and the Hulk, because he took her as his mate to create more Hulk babies. It's incest because they're cousins. Lots of incest Hulk babies. People tend to know about this one because it comes up a lot. Number 8, DAZZLER. Yes, DAZZLER, the disco queen herself, was pregnant. She got pregnant by Longshot, who was pretty excited about it. And it was hinted that their baby was Shatterstar. Let me explain. Okay, let's go through this. DAZZLER and Longshot became lovers when they were both on Genosha, and they were later together on Mojo World. So what happened with this baby? Well, for a while it looked like a miscarriage. But then that makes editorial uncomfortable. So they dealt with it with a memory loss plot where DAZZLER would return to Earth before Longshot and forget him and the babies. Baby? What baby? We would fully deal with this in X Factor 47 with different timelines and time jumps. Just like we did for Sue Storm. Dead children are too real. Fix it with time travel. So Shatterstar would teleport to a time where DAZZLER and Longshot were married, and they give birth to a young Shatterstar. And Shatterstar erased their memories of this event so the baby could be raised to become the Shatterstar he needs to be. Paradox is better than miscarriage, says Marvel. Number 7, Knockout. Knockout starts off as a villain and often squared off against Superboy KANE, the 90s one, pre-black t-shirt, still got the glasses and the side belt. Free Lex Dad. She would end up on the Secret Six team and enter a lesbian relationship with fellow member and daughter of Vandal Savage, Scandal Savage. And she would also soften and become more of an anti-hero. Eventually her and Scandal would decide they wanted to have a child alongside their other partner because they were in a polyamorous relationship. So who was there to donate his essence? Catman. Catman was chosen because he was a good friend to them, especially Scandal, and he earned that title once more when he accepted. Catman. He'll donate you his sperm, he'll make you eggs late at night, he'll go on a murder spree if your son is kidnapped. Stand up guy. Catman. Number 6, ISABEL KANE, Smasher, or Izzy Kane. She became a hero to honor her grandfather and will be recruited by Captain America to join the Avengers. She got pregnant by accident when she slept with Cannonball, and just while neither were as thorough in the prevention department as they could have been. Right after, she would be called to return to Shi'ar homeworld, where she would decide to tell Cannonball and keep the baby. After she moves to Chandelar, in order to not have the baby interfere too much with the plot, the baby was hypergestated and was born in less than 8 months. So when she came back to Cannonball, she was just like, here you go, baby. That's one way to not have to deal with it. Hyper age baby. Number 5, Wolfsbane. She got pregnant via the Asgardian Himrahari, hard to say. She was on X-Force but would return to X Factor after the pregnancy, which would dedicate a lot of time to it, allowing it to kinda play out. And yet many people miss it. Initially her pregnancy was threatening her life, and the Wolf Prince would give his life so that the baby and her could live. Now this pregnancy would also be faster than normal. They would just linger on it more narratively. This would be because of the lupine natures of her and the father. The birth of this baby would also be odd. She would give birth through her mouth, and the baby would instantly get up and attack. This terrified her and she would disown her child as unnatural. The irony of this from a mutant was not fully explored, but I appreciate the nuance, unintentional as it was. She would abandon her son, and Jack Russell, aka Werewolf by Night, would take him in. And she would feel terrible, and the writers would demonstrate this by having her eat ice cream till she threw up. well handled. She would later go to try and find her son, and well, all the X-Men have been rebooted now thanks to Hickman. So yeah, also she died before that, but now she's back. There's a lot of things happening. Number 4, Storm. So let's go over the Black Panther Annual number 1. This story involves the Watcher looking over the Earth and extrapolating possible timelines. In one, he sees the union of Storm and T'Challa leading to a dynasty. Guess he didn't get the no marriage memo. This dynasty would rule the world. Her and T'Challa would have children. She would become like a Game of Thrones style mom, arranging matches and talking about how her children were her cubs and how cousins used to get married to preserve dynasties. We also get an interesting alternate or revisionist history, and it's still from an American perspective, so it would be different obviously if it was from an African perspective, so you have different acknowledgments of different things. Just read it for yourself and see how you feel. The story is called Black to the Future. It's trying hard in so many ways and failing in certain others. She convinces her one son who loves his brother's fiance to abandon it because it's not what's best for the people. I've read this annual more than once and it's complex. Anyway, Storm and T'Challa. Number 3, Rogue. Rogue has a child with Captain America in the What If story from What If Volume 2 number 114 in 1998. In this story, the Avengers went to Battleworld in Secret Wars but never came back. Instead, they had to live there forever. They started a whole new world and society. And in the process, Rogue and Cap got together and had a child, Sarah Rogers. But what about Rogue's abilities, you say? Yeah. What about them? Well, also in this story, everybody's calling Rogue Carol, which adds a disturbing question in this universe. Was the transfer total? Is it just Carol's consciousness in there? Is that why her powers don't work? I have questions and the 90s doesn't have enough answers for me. Tell me things, Watcher. I need answers. Number 2, Nova. There has been more than one Nova. For our purposes, we're looking at Eve Bacchian, who joins the Nova Corps to prevent the Annihilation Wave. Before this though, she would be serving and pregnant, like full on pregnant and taking on enemies. They're doing the whole it's fine, she has armor on. It's not like if she falls, they would just, crush and kill her baby. Look at this magic armor. She looks cool. She does look cool actually. You have to be careful though, filming a movie with stunt doubles is not the same as fighting invaders. She would have a daughter named Anwin, who would grow up resentful of the Corps because it would take her mother away from her. Indeed, Eve would end up trapped inside the Soul Gem, and Anwin would have to use the stone to visit her. See, in the comic verse, even children can wield the Infinity Gauntlet. Take that, MCU Tony. I'm sorry, I love you 3000. And in at number 1, we have NATASHA Romanoff, Black Widow. So in the Marvel animated movies verse, Natasha marries Captain America and they have a son, James Rogers, in honor of Bucky. Can you tell this is a very different continuity? Not only has Nat not been sterilized, but they're naming their son after Bucky, who in comic canon is her ex-lover. Love it. James made the leap into comics in S.H.I.E.L.D. number 4 with the next Avengers. The multiverse. Also, James is not their only child, but he follows in their heroic footsteps, hence he's the one who gets the glory, and a special shield from Tony. So those were 10 heroes you never knew were pregnant. How many of these did you remember? What threw you through a loop? Let me know. And while you're letting me know, please also like, share, comment, and subscribe so that you never miss a vid, and hit that notification bell too. See you soon. Bye.